We're going to leave you first up with the Baxter's Garden in Blenheim.
I found this marvellous oasis in the desert that is now Blenheim. Meet Brian Baxter, one of the local residents who's created this wonderful little oasis. And we're sitting on one of the prizes that he won for his garden award for this beautiful little spot. Brian, you've got a lovely spot here. Now, most people don't realise when they come to Blenheim that there's actually a hill. So why did you choose this lovely little spot?
We could see the potential for some lovely views from here. We could see the potential to have a nice terraced garden and a nice terraced house with a lovely outlook, and that's how it's proven.
The original sort of site here, when there were no houses, must have looked fairly barren to you.
Yes it did, but we could nevertheless see the potential right from day one, and it's panned out that way.
You've done an interesting garden here, Brian, because you've divided it.
We wanted to have a concept that included rooms, so to speak. As in a house, the garden has little rooms with different plantings, different plants, different ideas, and they're separate from each other.
But you seem to have a special plant which sort of stands out as a feature in each of these areas. Does this change as the season progresses?
Yes, it does. For instance, the hibiscuses and the rhodos, the roses, and the various other plants, the camellias, all have their different seasons and their different times. And it's very interesting seeing them come and go and have their turn.
In this very dry, hot climate, and Blenheim has some of the highest sunshine hours in New Zealand, have there been sort of major problems in getting the garden established, or have you enjoyed it?
We've enjoyed it. There have been some major problems. There's the clayey nature of the soil. We've had to bring in a lot of stuff, a lot of compost and pea straw, etc., etc. Yards and yards and yards of it, but it's pretty well right now. And but the nature of it originally was very poor drainage with the solid clay base.
Well, with all the bits and pieces you brought in, I see you brought in a tremendous amount of rocks. Now, all of these retaining walls, who's responsible for building those?
Yes, well, I am, and I don't know if I would ever do it again. The fingers and a few bad words and a bit of bad language and a few hours, many hours of humping these stones one by one when I'd never ever done it before. But it was interesting doing it, interesting learning how to do it, and interesting seeing the result now that the plants have grown around it and over it.
Well, it's certainly a wonderful, comfortable little spot. And perhaps you would like to show us some of the particular plants that you are very fond of and what's out at this time of the year.
For instance, right now, the Sally Holmes rose here is in full bloom. Over the way is the hibiscus, and they're doing well. They didn't suffer from any frosts this last winter, so they're really going forward, as is a favourite of Kathy's, my wife's, over here, the lavender hedge. And it's timely to say that that's attributable to Kathy's efforts mainly, because she's the gardener, but between us we've attempted, and I think succeeded, in designing a floral garden.
There is a tremendous amount of stone and block work in this garden, but somewhere along the line, Brian, I get the idea that you really enjoy the creativity of playing with these materials.
And talking about creative, John, that's not all that Brian does that's creative. Come and have a look at this.
Excuse me, Brian, but Kim's a fairly persistent woman, so I better go and see what she wants. Oh, wow, Now, Kim, I see what you mean. Now, I'm going to let you two ladies sit here and talk while I go and look at the rest of these magnificent paintings.
Okay, Morty. Tell me about the paintings.
Well, I'd like to take credit for it, but it's my husband's work.
Kathy, tell me what style of painting this is.
This is a realist style.
What is realist?
It's when they paint, an artist paints what he sees.
Where does he get his inspiration from, Kathy?
Well, it's really great, Kim. He just goes and outside his studio and picks different flowers at different times of the year and comes in and paints them. So I can have flowers inside the house all year round.